everybody. Welcome in. Let's let the madness start on a Monday with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Barry looks like he's back in his studio from another long road trip. How's it going here on a Monday?
It's going good. My gosh, busy as can be. Here's my weekend, which was spent in Lafayette, Louisiana. Troy baseball wins 2 out of 3 against Louisiana. They fall yesterday, okay? Big score fest. Game took a long time, 32 runs scored.
Whoa.
And, I'm all invested in the baseball broadcast. The idea was for the baseball bus to get underway back home at 5 o'clock. Well, the game ran a little bit long. So, I'm trying to stay on the air because I know Troy, the NCAA selection show begins at 5 o'clock, right? So I'm hemming and hawing and everything on the air, giving the line score about 3 or 4 times. And finally, I just had, this is all we got. And, went to the bus. By the time I got to the bus, I had to call a few people. A few people called me and everything. And I found out where Troy is going to go. It's all very exciting. And on the bus, everybody was not happy with the loss, but excited about the basketball team. Troy is going to take on the Kentucky Wildcats for the second time in Troy's history, by the way, in Milwaukee on Friday at 6:10. And you watch.
6:10.
It'll be right at 6:10. I mean, it ain't going to tip off up there at 6:11 or 6:09. It'll be right at 6:10 on the dot. You can count on that. One of 4 teams from the state of Alabama that's going to go to the NCAA tournament, huh?
I got a question. I'm glad you posted that way. I'm hearing yesterday that the SEC got 14 teams in the tournament, and you're there again with the state of Alabama having 4. I mean, do they really? I mean, if you've got to be in a play-in game, are you really in the tournament?
That counts. Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of in the tournament, but if you win, you're really in the tournament. I mean, I've never understood play-in games. It's another money grab. Do we really need them? Why Dayton, Ohio? Who cares? I mean, you're kind of in the tournament, but you know what? If you win, you're really in the tournament. Don't get it.
Does anybody remember John's stance when we're talking to people about the college football playoff expansion, and John says, "Ooh, football expert, I've heard that they're talking about having kind of play-in games for the conference championship in football, where it's not just one where you can play a couple extra just to get into the playoff." And John sounded like he was kind of in favor of that.
Well, number one,
tournament.
Well, number one, you won't be the conference champion if you win it. And it's not what we hope to be a 16-team playoff. If you want to do that for your little conference deal, like we just witnessed in Nashville and across the country, so be it. But, hey, we made the tournament. Well, wait a minute here. Hold on. Let's see. I see you're playing Xavier on a Tuesday. Are you really in? I guess if you win, you're in, and then you'll play Illinois. But right now, you're not really in.
I could not disagree anymore. Every atom and molecule of my body disagrees with that. It is no longer the field of 64. It is the field of 68. These teams are in. It is a real NCAA tournament game. They call it the field of 68. It's not a play-in thing. It is the first 4. Alabama State is in it. As a matter of fact, Alabama State plays in the very first game, and I, for one, am proud of them. So,
yeah. So when they get on the bus and they're heading back to Montgomery, after they get beat by SFU, it's Stephen F. Alston. Who they playing there?
It's St. Francis.
St. Francis. Lighten up, Francis. So when they get on the bus after St. Francis is beating them and they're riding back home from down 65 from Lexington, man, I sure am glad we made the tournament. Did we really? I mean, here it is tonight, we're heading back home. Or maybe this. A year from now, heck, a month from now, Texas fans going, I sure am proud we made the NCAA tournament this year. Now, we got beat by Xavier in a play-in game.
Right.
We made it. We made the tournament. I don't know.
Well, everybody at some point, there are 68 teams in the tournament. Every one of them at some point is going to have to make that long trip back. Disappointed in not going any further. Everybody is going to have to do that except for one team. That team is the champion. And JD says a team from Dayton has made it to the weekend for the past 4 years. Yeah, you're in the tournament.
Yeah.
It's the first 4, not play-in games.
Yeah.
John is also and has been of the opinion that it doesn't even really matter if you make the Final Four. Because who's going to remember the next year? Ooh, we played in the Final Four. Now John's even saying, ooh, in the first 4. Does anybody really, does it mean anything for anybody to be in the tournament unless you win it?
Well, everybody will be coming home except the last team standing.
Right.
But they're not coming home from Dayton on a Tuesday. I don't. Why do we need this? Why do we need play-in games? I mean, is this just another money grab gimmick? I just expand it. Just let's let everybody start on Thursday. Just let everybody play. Why do we need a play-in game? I've never understood that. I get there again. Another way to make money. Why are they keeping it at 68? Might as well just let the whole field play.
Are you shocked that the NCAA basketball tournament expanded to the point to where you say, obviously, to this observer, this is a shameless money grab? But yet again, when we're talking about the college football playoff expansion, which, again, huge money grab, John gets all goosebumpy and ooh, man, I can't wait. Boy, I can't wait from 4 to 12. Man, I can't wait to 16. He's all about expanding the college football playoff. But in basketball, it's like, you have to make a Tuesday drive from Dayton. What's wrong with driving home Tuesday?
When the 16-team playoff has a play-in weekend before the 16 is part of the college football playoff, let me know. I mean, the way I see it, the SEC's got 13 and a half teams in the tournament. They don't have 14. They got 13 and a half. And I think it's a little cheap for the league to be beating their chest. Well, we got 14 in. Well, did you really? One of them that has to play their way into it. It's called a play-in game.
Yeah.
Play-in means, you got to win to get in. Auburn didn't have to play to get in. They're already in. So is Alabama. So is 13 other teams in this league. They are in the tournament. They're not in a play-in game to get in the tournament.
Who's calling it a play-in game? Who's calling it a play-in game? It's you.
The winner gets to go. Why are they playing? What does the winner get to do?
The winner, they get to move on.
Okay, we don't know.
Just like the first round teams winners do, just like the
who is Auburn playing on Friday in Lexington?
They're playing either Alabama State or they're playing St. Francis.
We don't know. And the winner of that game, the winner is playing to get in. A play-in game.
They're not playing to get in. They're already in. Who will Auburn play in the second round game? We don't know that either. Somebody has got to win to move in. If Auburn wins, they've got to wait. Somebody else has got to win to move in to play Auburn. And if that continues, they got to win
that
again.
Is a play-in game. I have heard it referenced as a play-in game. It'll always be a play-in game. And it is there's an asterisk in my mind that, these teams had to go to Dayton for the right to get into the field of 64.
I can live with that. When they do make that, as John makes it, that lonely whistle stop ride down that lonesome highway back from Dayton, Ohio, after having participated in the NCAA tournament, they're all going to sit there and think, man, that was just an asterisk in John Longshore's mind.
We sat there on a Sunday night and watched the selection show. We got this little play-in thing, and then we had to go to Dayton, and we get beaten 40 minutes, and we're on the bus again, heading home, going, geez, wow, that kind of hit me like a baseball bat. Didn't see that coming. Woo!
I hated that we begin like this. One of the great spectacles in athletics, and John saying, poo on you, Alabama State. Poo on you. Poo on you, first four. Meanwhile, again, cannot wait to get 16 in college football. Well, John, it's not very likely the 16 seed is going to make the college football playoff championship game. All but they're in. Who's to say they couldn't win?
Well, now, again, this whole discussion started with a play-in game, which is on a Tuesday. There are a limited number of teams that are playing their way to get into the field of 64. That doesn't happen in the 16-team or 14-team playoff. They don't have a play-in.
They are. It is not a play-in game. You can say they're not. But these teams are in the NCAA tournament. These teams are
football doesn't have a setup like this. I don't know why you're comparing football to basketball. They do not have a setup like this. Okay, they have a conference championship weekend in football, just like they had a conference tournament in basketball.
Right.
But they don't have this little extra one day of 4 teams getting together to get in to play the number 1 seed in college football. They don't do that. Now, they might, but right now they don't do it. And as much as they want to grab money, they probably will do something like that in the future. But there is no Tuesday-style game. If you don't want me to call it play-in, I'll say a Tuesday-style game, whatever you want to call it, because it's not listed as the first. They got these games in Dayton down here. It says first 4. That's what's the first 4?
Those are the first four games.
It's some gimmick to just,
if you want to expand
the winner get to go. But
they wanted to make the tournament larger. And you can't make it larger, at least not in the current, by adding 16 more teams and having a brand new total first round, getting an entirely, totally new first round, or 32 games or whatever. This is the only way they can logically expand it without adding.
Could this committee not just sit in a room and go, I think Alabama State's a better team than St. Francis, and American's better than Mount St. Mary's, and on and on. Mm-hmm. Just put them in the tournament. Well, why are we having a play-in? Just put them in there.
Tournament. They're in.
Just put them in against. Let's go ahead and already know who Auburn's opponent is. Just go ahead and let Alabama State be the team. Let Xavier go ahead and get in. But why are we playing them to let them get in? I just don't get it.
I can't understand. There is an absolute logical disconnect with him. In order to have a new playoff, if John wants to expand the playoff, it would have to be an extra, 16 teams, an extra 32 teams to have an entirely new first. You can't do that. So you add the 8 teams to have 4 games. These
I'm not even saying add them. Don't even add them. Just put them in there. Why
then you're against playoff expansion. Then you're against the concept of playoff expansion.
I'm talking, I am in this form. I sure am. Playing on a Tuesday night. You better believe it. I'm just saying, put Alabama State in. Let them play Auburn. Just go, why? Just do it. I mean, this playoff committee can find 64 teams to put in the tournament. Can they not just go ahead and put these in there too? Did they feel like it's so important? It's so important that we got to have this, what do they call it? First 4 games? Really? Let's make it 8. Why stop at 4? Let's have the first 8 games. Let's have the first 16. Let's have a mini tournament before we have the big tournament.
Is that acceptable to you? Is that what you're
not really? But I don't know why they're stopping at the first 4.
Right. Well,
I mean, make it 16. Why not?
But you don't want that. I
don't want any of it. I really don't. I just don't. I don't get.
You're against extra games?
I don't know why they can't just go ahead and decide who Auburn's playing. Why we got to wait? So what?
Why not let the teams decide?
I mean, are we going to hurt
that we begin this thing with John being absolutely just, hey, y'all out there, I don't think you're an NCAA tournament team. I can live with that. If they can live with the heartache of knowing that, I guess I can live with it too.
I just,
it is
this
not
is
a
the real world.
game.
When everybody's not getting a participation trophy here,
Knew he'd
and
get
if St. Francis doesn't get in, go get your crying towel, boo-hoo somewhere else, but play-in game. I wonder what the television ratings for play-in games are.
I knew we'd get to participation rating, and I knew we'd get to television ratings. Why do they have it?
Is this on True TV? How am I going to find these great play-in games on Tuesday? Where are they broadcast on?
The first two games tomorrow night will be on True TV, and then the two games on Wednesday will be on True TV. Well, obviously, there are not TV networks to my satisfaction to carry them. Therefore, they are worthless.
Case closed. True TV.
Absolutely don't get it. Absolutely cannot understand why we start the program out with John just
I am not going to be able to watch bait car or wife swapping on True TV because they're going to put the first four games on instead. I don't know what I'm going to do missing those shows.
As we go to break, does anybody want to tell John how you can watch Alabama's first game? Anybody want to break that news to him about the illegitimacy of True TV?
I'm not worried about Friday's games yet. I'm worried about Tuesday's games.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and that's another gripe I've got. How in the world is the number one overall seed playing in the afternoon? I mean, who schedules these games? I want to watch the number one overall seed at night in prime time. People got jobs. They got to go to work. I mean, in the afternoon? Come on.
I'm just thinking maybe a salad. There's some high fiber cereals out there, maybe some oatmeal. Good gracious. He has come out just ripping the whole thing.
I always get excited at the tournament, and then they let me down with a little cheap stuff like this. Just drives me insane.
Half the teams, you don't know who they are anyway.
Half these games I'm not watching anyway. I mean, until the Sweet 16, the tournament kind of bores me. Some of these teams that get in, then who? What are they doing there? Lipscomb. Yeah. What? Come on.
Yeah.
Nah, not interested. Sweet 16.
Shout out to, as my buddy Jason says, shout out to Alabama State fans that John poo-pooed on this morning. Congratulations for making the NCAA tournament. I'm excited about it. John says, they shouldn't have these games. I could really care less about half of it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, hey, check out our NCAA bracket contest at Yellowhammer News.
Yeah, see,
it is up.
That's what's interesting. That's what keeps me engaged, knowing that I got a chance to win some big prizes. And we're going to get Gern to put the QR code up here in a moment. There we go. You can check that out. You can scan that with all the information. Then we'll be giving it to you as well. So you'll be on top of that. And we certainly appreciate all of our fine sponsors who are bringing our tournament challenge to you. The Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. Phoenix Physical Therapy, getting you back into the game is what Phoenix Physical Therapy is all about. River Region Straw, premium long needle pine straw. Give Kenny a call or text today at 669-5959. And the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, 288-4272. Call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup. Kevin, you're a smart man. You're already agreeing with me. How many else of you out there agree with me and say, yeah, play-in games, who cares? So what?
Kevin says that?
Yeah, see at the bottom?
He says, John, I agree. Okay, with the little, he's the only one out there. And so John holds it triumphantly above him.
Then Kurt tells me to quit bitching. Life's too short.
I can't get it. I just don't get the inconsistency between loving an expansion in the football playoff, but NCAA tournament, too many teams, don't care about it. John wants more teams in one sport, too many in another. It kind of gets a little insight into it. We're underway on the Monday show. He's John Longshore, coming out gripey today. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
All right, everybody. The SEC Tournament Madness hit Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And after a wild week of upsets, buzzer beaters, and heartbreak, the Florida Gators emerged as champions, taking down Tennessee 86-77 in the title game. Florida got it done. With MVP Walter Clayton Jr., this guy was on fire all tournament long, but he dropped 22 points in the final, hitting big shots when it mattered the most. Somebody has to check this guy's stats in 2K because he was playing on Hall of Fame mode. That being said, there was a balanced attack across the Florida team. Florida was cooking with fire. 5 players scoring in double digits, making sure Tennessee never had a chance to even breathe. With all that being said, we have to now talk about our big upsets and our insane games. We have Texas pulling off a thriller. The Longhorns took down Texas A&M in double OT, 94-89, in what might have been one of the craziest games of the tournament. I mean, come on, imagine battling for nearly 3 hours just to go home. Next, we bring up Auburn. How are you going to fumble the number 1 seed? The top-seeded Tigers got stunned by Tennessee in the semis, falling 70-65. That's a bad look for the squad that dominated the SEC all season long. Florida goes nuclear. I mean, my God, the Gators couldn't miss, especially against Alabama. They dropped 104 points like they were playing Madden instead of basketball. That's just wrong. Finally, we have the championship game. We've got Tennessee's Jordan Gainey going off. He puts up a season-high 24 points. He tried to carry the team on his back, but you know what? The Gators squad, too deep. The all-starting 5 scored double figures. That's 5 dudes who can get buckets at any time. Finally, what's the most important is that the SEC made history today. We are sending 14 teams to March Madness, more than any conference has ever done in history. Florida and Auburn both grabbed number 1 seeds, but guess what? Alabama's sitting there with a crazy number 2 seed. We'll see what they can do. But long story short, the SEC is about to wreak havoc on this NCAA tournament. You heard it here first.
It is. Oh, man, dude, that was a close one. The Cox, they had a good chance there. We were down by 2. We were down by 2 at one point. Close game. Kind of got away from us. We were down by 20 at one point. Brought it back to 1. I thought we had a chance. I thought we had a great chance, but it's just how it goes. The SEC is loaded. I can't even say anything, man. The Cox put in a great run, and I'm happy about it. So, good stuff, boys.
There we go.
Me and her have been
How did this come about?
Me and her have been dating for like 3 years. I would say like it's been a bit of a situation. It's like you think like when you have a house divided, there's things that you yell about, and sometimes they're in the shower.
Hey, there you go.
Sometimes in the kitchen, when she holds a knife, it's very scary. Very, very scary. So that's my personal.
All right, so outcomes for tonight. What are y'all expecting?
They won. I'm hoping we'll win tonight.
Okay. All right, thank you guys.
You know, it was a great game. We could have come back. We didn't. The foul trouble was a real issue, but better luck next week in the coming weeks.
Exactly.
Go ball!
Let's go. SEC tournament. Tell me how it is. Who we got? What we got cooking? Oh yeah.
Road Tears. Hit Road Tears. Word to Will Brown. Hit Road Tears. It's nice. Open them back up in the city so I don't have to come to a Preds game and get a burger.
Sights and sounds of Nashville, the SEC tournament. Gurn Jr. on the scene with some action. I tell you, I was very impressed with the number of people inside Bridgestone Arena. Man, the place was packed for those games, and some highlights of some of the action as well. I don't know what happened to Alabama. We've talked about it in their losses before, prior to the embarrassment to Florida, who's a really good basketball team. I will say that. Thought they would win the tournament. Said it last week. But just the effort, it was almost like Alabama just gave up. You know, Grant Nelson got hurt, and it's like, man, we're just going to, doesn't mean anything, similar to a Tuesday play-in game. Let's just get on out of here.
The game, whenever they when they interviewed Nate Oates afterwards, you know, he was ticked off about it. Oates, you know, says when Florida was making their big run, Florida scored 57 points in the second half. And they're saying, Nate, did you think about calling a timeout? And Nate says, timeout to do what? Tell them to be tougher? You know, it wasn't they had the wrong guys on the floor. It wasn't that they were not executing, you know, what they had practiced or not playing, working the plays that they were given. He said they weren't tough. What do you do when your team is just like John said? It looks as though, well, our guy's hurt, ain't our day. Boy, this is a nice crowd, huh? Let me wave to everybody as I'm running down the court or whatever. They just did not have it.
There's certain there's kind of games that you watch and you kind of can get a pretty good feel about how it's going to turn out by the mannerisms, the effort, the lack of effort. The way that they're playing, a little unorganized. You know, I can't imagine that Nate Oates likes a lot of dribbling and then within the last 7 or 8 seconds panic and try to just make something happen. We've seen Alabama teams decades ago that did a lot of that type of stuff, and I saw that against Florida. I can't imagine, Barry, that the absence of Grant Nelson got them all out of whack that bad, but that was probably the poorest second half I've seen Alabama play all year.
And it's a bad precedent to start to get into the tournament to have played like that. Here's what I think. We get, of course, Bob from Pike Road talking about Auburn, which I enjoy. We need more Auburn talking. Boy, Bob talks about it all the time. He says, has there ever been a number 1 seed that has lost 3 out of their last 4? Gosh, I don't know, but I don't think so. That's, when was the last time the number 1 overall seed lost 3 of their last 4 games heading into the NCAA tournament? The good thing is that it's better than being, the number 16 seed or the number 12 seed and losing 3 out of their last 4 heading into the NCAA tournament. It's not in an optimal place for Auburn right now, obviously, but I got to tell you, after watching what I watched over the weekend and what I've seen over the year, if I had to pick right now, and I haven't filled out my bracket, John, I'm going to have to go with the Florida Gators unless I can get talked out of it. Gosh, they've got everything you need, and they've got a lot of it. So watch out for wondering,
Florida. Where was Florida in January?
They were hurt.
I don't remember as much talk about the Gators.
That's a good
You didn't hear people, oh, man, this Florida team. And, man, when February rolled around, it's like everything came together. Everybody healed up. I mean, they were on top of it. I'm with you. I think Florida is ultra impressive. I'd be afraid of the Florida Gators if they were who I was facing. Norfolk State, you're up next. But they're number 1 seed for a reason. That they impressed me. I'm very impressed with Florida.
Norfolk State is legit, right? We know who Norfolk State is playing in the first. Therefore, they're
legit. Yeah, they're legitimately in the tournament. Yeah, now legit in terms, are they any good?
Couldn't tell you.
You know, when I think of Norfolk, I'm thinking of a railroad line. I'm not thinking of a basketball team.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about them.
So Florida is the SEC champions. Gators come in as a number 1 seed along with Auburn and Duke and I believe Houston. Auburn, the number 1 overall seed. And I'm not whining or anything. I know anything that comes from anybody who's ever attended or been associated with Auburn considers it whining. Auburn they'll open up on Thursday against either St. Francis or Alabama State. It'll be at 1:50 in the afternoon. And it will be on, let's see. The Auburn game will be, if you want to watch it, Auburn will be, I just lost it. 2:50 on Thursday. Okay, never mind. Yeah, on Thursday. On CBS. Brian Anderson, Jim Jackson, Ali LaForce, and Auburn will win that one, whoever they play. Then they'll move on. This is in the Lexington region. Then they'll move on to take on the winner of Louisville and Oregon. Now, Louisville is an 8 seed. There's something like 27-6.
Is that Oregon or Creighton?
Creighton. I'm sorry. I said, yeah, it's Creighton. Yeah, Louisville versus Creighton. Need to put my glasses on. The 8 versus 9. Louisville is severely underseeded. And their athletic director, can't think of his name, is already banging the drum for his fans to fill up Rupp Arena in Kentucky with 20,000 Louisville fans to take on Auburn. So, I'd almost, except for the honor of being, the number 1 overall seed, if I'm Auburn, I'm thinking, give me a 2 and send me out to Seattle or something like that instead of, having to go through an underseeded Louisville playing in the state of Kentucky.
Well, here's what I want to know.
All right.
When I saw this come out last night, saw the tip times for Auburn and Alabama.
Right.
Thursday night, who's playing in prime time? I'm just kind of curious who's playing in the prime time window of round 1 of the NCAA tournament.
You got at 6:10, you've got Arkansas and Kansas. 6:25, you've got Yale and Texas A&M. 6:35, you got Drake and Missouri. Which, they sold a lot of tickets if it was Drake the rapper. Then they go to the nighttime round. 8:25, Utah State and UCLA. Nebraska Omaha versus St. John's and Rick Pitino. 9 o'clock, you got UC San Diego versus Michigan. And at 9:10, you've got North Carolina, Wilmington, against Texas Tech. Not super fantastic primetime offerings.
Yeah, I don't get. You would think, even though it'll probably be a 30-point blowout, does Duke play at 2 in the afternoon or 12:30? They're playing the winner of the American Middle Tennessee. Who is that's in that playoff game?
Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary.
Yes.
I just thought you would think the teams that are number 1 seeds, part of the, award of being a number 1 seed was to play in prime time. It's not like they're playing the next day. If you win, you're going to get a day off and then play on Saturday. So it's not like you got to, if you play at 9 at night, you might play at noon the next day. You got a whole day to rest. There again, I know the TV networks, they got a method to their madness of what they're trying to do here. I just thought the number 1 seeds would get a little bit better TV slots.
Yeah. On Friday, you've got games like, in primetime, Akron versus Arizona, Xavier or Texas against Illinois, Bryant versus Michigan State, and Liberty versus Oregon. So yeah, the Alabama again. Auburn will wait, and the Auburn will play on Thursday at 1:50 against either St. Francis or Alabama State. Also on Thursday, on Friday, Troy will play at 6:10 against Kentucky. That'll be on CBS. Big opportunity for exposure for Troy. They played Kentucky before, played them tough for a little while, up in Rupp. Alabama plays at 11:40 in the morning on Friday against Robert Morris, who's not a guy, he's a whole college. It's number 2 versus number 15. That is on True TV. Oh,
where's Robert Morris?
Where's the campus?
Where are they located? Yeah, where are they located? Robert Morris.
I've heard of Greg Morris, who played on Mission Impossible.
He certainly did.
Yeah. I've heard of Mercury Morris, who used to play for the Dolphins. Robert Morris, they tell me, is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That is, and it's been founded, it's been a school for 104 years now. So that is it on Robert Morris. That's what I've
Morris. That's interesting. JD, I must be slipping. You're right. Any reference of Auburn and Louisville, shouldn't Jetgate be a part of that reference? Thank you, JD. I completely missed out on that one. I'm slipping.
You don't know.
Back in the day, I was certainly hit on that.
JD, what you don't know is that here, the way we're set up, I can see John, obviously, and I can see our guest. Down below, we've got what John calls the green room. You can see when a guest is popping in, and you can, elevate him up. And you can also see the green room during the commercial breaks. During the commercial breaks, you say something like that, JD, and we go to commercial, and you can see John underneath in the green room going, golly, man, why didn't I bang his head against the wall thinking, I had that right in front of me, and I just swung and missed. It drives him crazy to miss out on a reference like that.
JD, I'm so flustered about this play-in game deal. I'm just, beside myself on this play-in stuff. So I'll regroup, I'll gather myself, and I won't let anything like that slip past me the rest of the day. Yep. I tell you what else we got going on the rest of the day. We will kick back off with our win totals in 2025. We have got 6 teams already, 6, not 16, 6 teams already in the books: Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky. We'll go over LSU today, maybe in about 10 minutes or so, with their win totals for 2025. Our man Josh Harris will get his takes today at the top of the next hour. Probably not very happy with that effort from the Crimson Tide against the Florida Gators. The Phantoms Daily Dog. We'll just leave it at that. The Victory 777 topic wheel as well today. We got a lot going on, but it is tournament time. And we certainly want you to be a part of what we're doing. Gurn, of course, has been putting up the QR code to give you all the information. You can go to yellowhammernews.com, and certainly want to thank our good friends at yellowhammernews.com who broadcast this very program, as well as give you a write-up each and every afternoon about what we did on the show. You can also check it out on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Spotify. We greatly appreciate that as well. Yellowhammernews.com. You'll go there to enter. And of course, it's up. Everybody's shooting for that $1,000 travel voucher where you'll be able to travel, well, really anywhere you want to go. It's great. If you don't use the entire $1,000, you'll have a credit. You can use it at a later date. Or if if your ticket is more than $1,000, but at least you got $1,000 in your pocket to use toward your ticket purchases. So we really appreciate that. And of course, our good friends at Phoenix Physical Therapy, getting you back in the game is what they're all about, with locations throughout Central Alabama. River Region Straw, premium long needle pine straw for all of your landscaping needs. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf, and the Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. Check them out at iflymgm.com.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. All right.
Uh-oh.
Glad you're with us here on this Monday. So Troy taking on Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. That game is on Friday. So travel plans, when the Trojans heading up north, what's all going on as they prepare for the tourney?
I have not heard of a leave time. I've been told that if we played on a Friday, that Troy would leave out on Wednesday. Know the time yet. Leaving, I believe, from the Montgomery Regional Airport to head to what is it? Is it MKE? Is that the Milwaukee Airport? MKE?
I think so. And I can't swear to it, but I think it is. Yeah, MKE.
So, I know I'm going to miss some time on the show this week. I don't know the schedule as of yet. I will not be on the show tomorrow because if we do leave on Wednesday, this is my schedule. If we do leave on Wednesday for Milwaukee, I'll have a chance to do the Troy baseball game tomorrow at 1 o'clock against UAB at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, which means that we would have to leave early. If we leave on Wednesday lunchtime or afterwards, then I'll be able to do the show on Wednesday. Who knows what the schedule is on Thursday, but I should be there, and Friday as well from Milwaukee. It's been, the last month has been crazy. If you look right now at BetMGM, Florida has the best odds now. Florida is the odds-on favorite at plus 350, whatever that means. Duke is right behind them at plus 360. Duke wins the ACC championship, the ACC tournament, without much of anything from Cooper Flagg, who hurt his ankle. But they have another freshman named Con Knippel, who is really good. Auburn, even with Duke, and you don't know all about Cooper Flagg and how well he's going to be feeling, Auburn is right behind Duke at number 3 with the best odds at BetMGM at plus 400. Houston at plus 600. Those are the 4 right there. Those are the 4 number 1 seeds. Florida, Duke, Auburn, and Houston. Houston at plus 600. Then Alabama at plus 1,200. And Tennessee at plus 1,400. There is a big gap between the top 4, according to Vegas, and the next 2. So it seems like it would come out of
What
that.
about a Florida Auburn championship game? And after we get through all this little participation trophy games that we got to go through, we finally get to April the 7th, and it's Florida and Auburn playing for the title. I could certainly see it because I think those two teams are really, really good. Florida, I do think's playing better at the moment. But, boy, that would be really interesting to see those two SEC teams play for all the marbles on April the 7th.
That's I don't know what the odds are of two SEC teams playing each other, but those odds are better than any other conference's odds ever have been. 14 teams are in. 14 from the SEC. And boy, you know that all of the national fans and all the national media, there are two things they're screaming at about yesterday's selection show. Number one is 14 teams out of 68. Somebody did the math. That's like 20%, 20-something percent. I'm not interested in doing the math. 14 out of 68 teams are from one conference. That's too many, Well, if they're the best teams, and they've had the best years and they played the best competition, then, yeah, they deserve to be in. Yeah, the SEC, they're just too powerful. They're behind the scenes making sure their team is – there's people griping, again, about SEC bias with 14 teams in. 14. 3 more than anybody has ever gotten before out of one conference in one tournament. And the other one is North Carolina getting in. North Carolina was not good this year. They were not great. As a matter of fact, to use this phrase with attribution, is North Carolina really in the tournament? I mean, they're not a 16 seed. They're an 11 seed, and they'll take on a San Diego State team who's also an 11 seed who played for the national championship.
Well, let me ask you this. How do they determine, because I see VCU is an 11 seed. I mean, why are they not in this trumped up play-in bonanza that's so great? Drake is also an 11 seed. How do they differentiate between those 11 seeds and the San Diego States, Xavier's, Texas, and North Carolinas of the world?
They go through and they determine which are – it's always got to be an 11 seed. I don't know why not a 12 seed. I don't know why not a 13 seed, blah, blah, blah. But it's always an 11 seed. And I guess they go over the ratings, the Ken Palm ratings, the Bart Torvik ratings, all of that, the net ratings, and determine the two strongest 11 seeds. I'm sorry, they determine, the two, the net, who plays each other. There are two 11s versus 11s. The 11 seeds will play in the first 4. North Carolina versus San Diego State, and then Xavier, who's really good, against Texas. So, there is a little bit of separation there. They want viewership in the first 2 days of the tournament, the Tuesday and Wednesday. But they realize every game can't be Mount St. Mary's versus American.
Oh, why not?
Because,
you've got We got to let these guys in to play the tournament. So what if it's not against a big boy and the executives, want ratings? Wait a minute. This is all about letting everybody get in the tournament. Now we got to have name teams in this drummed up, made up little play-in deal, but to make it legit. So we got to put North Carolina and Texas, schools people have heard about. So somebody will at least get a better rating than a test pattern. I mean, the more I hear about this, the more it just kills me. Oh,
I can't understand it. But they're in the tournament. So you've got North Carolina that gets in as an 11 seed, which the word is they were the last team in.
Yeah.
The last one. That's the thing I'm bringing up. The last
So-
team in, guess who the chairman of the NCAA selection committee is? He's a guy named
Bob Hope?
No. Ty Webb.
Ty Webb?
He is his name is Bubba Cunningham.
Uh-huh.
He is the athletic director at the University of North Carolina.
Oh, go figure.
Now, he pointed out last night when he and Sunbelt Commissioner Keith Gill from the selection committee were talking to the media, and getting all the response. He said, I wasn't in the room when North Carolina was discussed.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
Allegedly.
I was outside,
Allegedly.
taking away. No, I was outside waiting.
Yeah.
So I certainly didn't have any impact on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm sitting here looking at my bracket here, where everybody can, look at it and see who's all playing. You got this side. And
back in the day, if everybody had a bracket like that and they faxed it into us back in the early days of our contest, it would have made our life a whole lot easier. That's a nice one.
Then you got this little area down here, this little addendum, this little sidecar over here. And it's not part of this bracket. It's not part of this one. It's over here by itself. Kind of this little, stepbrother, if you will. Well, here they are. They're down here. They're not here where everybody that's in it, they're down here in their own little bracket, their little sidecar bracket. Oh, but they're in. They're in. Yeah. They're in the tournament.
Yeah.
Barry, this is amazing. Somebody sent this to me. This is absolutely amazing. I'm trying to do the math. How in the world can you play for this many schools? Is there not an eligibility rule anymore? I am told that Robert Morris's leading scorer is a young man named Cam Woods, who paired with Kool-Aid McKinstry to lead Pinson to an Alabama State title in 2019. Woods has played at Troy, Northwest Florida State Community College, North Carolina
State, North Carolina A&T,
and now Robert Morris. How many schools can you play for?
I guess as many as you want. That's the TJ Finley question. I remember Cam Woods when he was at Troy. Nice kid. He quit before the end of the season at Troy. He averaged 38 points a game at Pinson Valley. And he was a highly prized recruit from Troy. Like I said, good kid. Nothing bad to say about Cam Woods. But then he went to North Carolina A&T. Then he went to junior college. Then he went to North Carolina State. I did not realize he was at Robert Morris. But
now where is Northwest Florida State Community College in that mall next to that Foot Locker?
No. This is a very good school. It is
never heard of it.
Oh yeah. It's a junior college.
Okay.
What used to be called a junior college, up in Niceville. Used to be Okaloosa Walton, I think. But anyway, so yeah, he went to junior college for a little while. Yeah, Robert Morris. Oklahoma had a guy. Their starting point guard is a guy named Duke Miles, who's from Montgomery, which is where Alabama State is, who's an NCAA tournament team, and he started out at Troy. Then he went to High Point. And now he's at Oklahoma. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of those out there. When they, when they put a graphic of a kid up there shooting free throws for somebody, it's going to have a lot of them going to have 2, 3, 4 schools down there. Makes it difficult for sure. Let's take a break.
That kid has certainly made the rounds.
There's a bunch of those like that. About 6 minutes left in our first hour of our live show. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again.
Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. Brought to my attention, just got this bracket last night, and I've been looking over the bracket, checking out some of the potential matchups, and brought to my attention, obviously Florida and Auburn would not play for the national title, but they could meet in the Final Four.
Yeah.
In the semifinal game. And I would have to think the winner of that game, potentially, just say Duke and Houston move all the way up. I like the winner of that game to win it all from the SEC.
There's a couple of teams in there that I don't think are getting all of the respect they deserve. Florida is one of them, although people now are following what John and I had said before. I remember John saying something back in February that Florida was on a run and everything. The reason why Florida wasn't heard from earlier, wasn't heard as much from, even though they were good and they were winning a ton of games, was because they had injuries. Walter Clayton had been hurt. They had lost Micah Hanlogton, the 7-foot center, the transfer. He had broken his leg last year. Pretty gruesome. I think that was in the SEC tournament or something like that. And he had taken a long time to heal. So they have gotten healthy. I think they are really well coached. This was interesting. Somebody posted this yesterday. The 4 number 1 seeds. Of the 4 number 1 seeds, you've got John Shire. Some people think about it this way. John Shire from Duke, Bruce Pearl from Auburn, Todd Golden from Florida, and the 4th top 4 seed coach is Kelvin Sampson from Houston. Somebody said, hey, 3 of the 4 coaches of the number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament are all Jewish. Okay, Wang, it's a parking lot. Somebody said we got to call it that. We got to call it Mensch Madness, which I thought was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things in and around the tournament. I think Florida is finally getting the respect they deserve. The Houston Cougars, if they're healthy, they are strong. Troy played Houston back in, I want to say November, early December. Houston, to me, looks good.
They look real good.
Watch out for St. John's. The teams that'll get after you defensively. I think Houston, if I'm not mistaken, Houston is in the same region as St. John's. And
let's
that
see,
would be
checking my bracket. St. John's is. Let's see here.
No, they're in a different region. Yeah.
But maybe they can face off.
Houston, Tennessee would be a defensive battle for the ages as well. In the West region, do they really mean to have it set up? People are saying, hey, the West region, it could produce a matchup between John Calipari and Rick Pitino.
Now, that would be good.
That would be good.
That won't be on at 11:40 on a Tuesday. I can promise you that.
I don't know if it's bracketed for that. Yeah. So.
It should be.
How do we feel about it? Auburn, they had to really work hard to beat Ole Miss in the SEC tournament quarterfinals. In the semifinals, they had every chance against Tennessee. Tennessee just seemed to me, John, to be a little bit tougher.
I think so.
Especially
very
down the
much so.
stretch. Auburn struggling down there. Everybody's really impressed with Florida. Alabama absolutely boat raced Kentucky. Will Alabama be the first of 2 straight teams from the state of Alabama to beat Kentucky in the postseason? Could happen. But the number one takeaway from the SEC tournament, you heard Gurn Jr.'s report, the Florida Gators. Holy smokes, they look good.
They are absolutely impressive. I enjoyed Gurn's footage of the Tennessee fan. I mean, Tennessee fans never let me down. They just never let me down. That was some good stuff there as they were dressed in their traffic cone orange, and looked like they might have had a little bit of alcohol before and during the game. Who knows? But Auburn, the overall number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Bruce Pearl says it kind of makes them feel like the regular season national champions. Is that a thing? Are they going to put a banner up there at Neville?
No, they didn't. They didn't roll Toomer's corner because they're the number 1 seed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure there. So we'll see how that plays out.
Facetious because regular season national champions isn't a thing. Just like recruiting national champions, it's not a thing. He's being facetious.
You get it. It might become a thing. Our man Josh Harris joining us as he does each and every Monday to kick off the second hour. I thought about you, Josh, on Saturday night when I actually changed the channel. I said, I've seen enough of this. This is over. It is done. Poor effort in the second half by the Crimson Tide against a really, really good Florida team.
That's funny you say that. It's the first time I did it all year. I turned it off.
Whoa, before the game was over, Josh?
Turned it off. It was just, I was okay. I wasn't just fuming, but I just had enough. It's all right. We were outmatched. We played hard in the first half. We don't want to see Florida again. We're on the opposite side of the bracket. They are a really, really good team. They're deep and they're big. They can run. They can play big boy ball down low.
Yeah.
They're a tough matchup. And they take away one of our biggest strengths, which is they can be as deep as we are, which we are so deep. We can run up and down that court the whole time. They can also do that. So when we can't, we're in trouble if we got to play Florida again. I thought obviously the Kentucky game was incredible. Came out and whooped up on them. What was that? The biggest loss they've ever had in the tournament. That was, I think it was 29 points.
It was 29 points. I couldn't imagine they have lost a game in that tournament, which, as you know, Josh, was for many years the Kentucky Invitational. I can't imagine they've ever lost a game in that deal by 29 points.
But it was the way that Florida ran through the tournament with maybe the best conference we've ever seen in basketball was remarkable. I mean, they can play some ball. I mean, and they didn't dominate the whole year either. They came on strong towards the end, but they're a good squad. Anyways, I'm just glad I'm looking at the other.
And I'm looking at the bracket, and I believe I'm looking at it correctly. I mean, the only way Alabama could meet Florida, Josh, is for the national title. And based on what I've seen out of Alabama in the last 6 weeks, maybe a little longer, that isn't happening. Alabama, I don't know what happened to them in the second half. It's like a totally different team. I can't believe that Grant Nelson's injury affected this team that much, but that team just almost looked like, I mean, we're playing defense, just kind of going 80%, it looked like to me. When they get it going, they can get it going. But there's certain teams out there that we've seen, Florida being one of them, they just don't match up well against. And I got to think there are going to be some teams that they could face in the first couple of 3 rounds. If they make it that far, they're going to give them all they want unless they can figure out and find something in the next 3 or 4 days.
I think everyone's going to give them everything. That's just how the tournament is. You're going to get everything you want. I think our depth is going to help. I think we looked bad against Florida because they had that same amount of depth that we had, and we didn't match up. And I do think Grant Nelson's injury, now it wouldn't affect it that much. We wouldn't have won the game, but he's really the only player that we have that can stretch the floor like he can, right? He can play big boy down low. He can go. He's been shooting great. He's been slamming the ball on people's heads, which everybody loves to see to get the energy going. So I think it was we went straight downhill after he came off when he got hurt. So I think that was a big part of it. Once again, not saying we were going to win the game. And I do like our draw. I mean, I think
it is a good draw. Yeah.
Let me see here.
I mean, we've got first round Robert Morris. Then we're going to play either St. Mary's or Vandy.
If you beat Robert Morris, we can't just.
That's what I'm saying. If these are all ifs,
sure. Yeah,
anything
sure.
can happen. Then you got you're playing Wisconsin, then you get to Duke, and you got to lock down Cooper Flag, right? If they get that far, because they don't they got to get past Arizona, which is always dangerous. Mississippi State actually is kind of dangerous just because they played in the SEC and played some good schools the whole year, right? They're used to playing good competition. And then we've got Houston on our side as well, which is, I don't want to. I'd rather play Houston than Florida or Auburn. So I do like, and I'm looking Final Four, which is exciting because I know, John, you're saying we ain't got a shot, but we got a shot. We're number 2 seed. I mean, I hear you. We used to love to see how we could get to the Elite Eight, right? It's like, can we get to the Elite Eight? Can we get to the, we've got a shot to get to the Final Four.
And I'll be first to admit, I don't know a lot about St. Mary's. They're playing Vanderbilt, 7 seed against a 10 seed. Know a little bit about Vanderbilt. Know a little bit about them. If I'm Alabama, there again, without even knowing a thing about St. Mary's, I'd much rather have Vanderbilt. And their 10 seed makes sense. To me, St. Mary's is one of those teams that you don't know a lot about. The world doesn't know a lot about them. You get them on the floor, and next thing you go, you're 5 minutes into the game going, whoa, who is this team?
It's like
that's what scares me about a team like St. Mary.
Yeah, it's like San Diego State 2 years ago when we were supposed to just waltz our way into the Final Four, and just didn't happen. So, once again, we did not play perfect towards the end of the year by any means. We had some good wins. We had some real tough losses. So I think we're headed down the right path. You hear that argument all the time. Do you want to lose early so you can get that extra break, right? So maybe we got a couple extra days of breaks, which will help us. The same thing that happened last year. We got knocked out of the tournament, I guess, by Florida last year, right? And so I like where we're headed. I don't feel too nervous about the run. I feel like we can make a good run.
If I can make the analogy of the national media and the basketball pundits as high school freshman boys, and all year long at the freshman dance over there in the basketball gym, and all the freshman boys like me were lined up against the cinder block wall and too scared to ask somebody to dance, and they're playing Flock of Seagulls, and I'm thinking this is my chance. And all the freshman guys are looking at that one girl, that one freshman cheerleader girl who developed early, and they're thinking, man, you're going to ask her? But she is the one. Boy, if somebody can get her to dance, you've made it. And then all of a sudden, in comes this other freshman girl who's just newly moved in from California. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, whoa, who is that? Do you guys know her? That's how it feels about Auburn. But then lately down the stretch, here comes Florida just moving in, and all of the freshman boys, all the national media looking and saying, has she always been in this school? When did she get here? I don't remember her. What is she? Boy, she looks good. That kind of a thing. What do you feel about Auburn? I mean, do you have any sort of a positivity or?
Yeah, I think that's what you want. I mean, I think that's you want to be the forgotten person going into the tournament. You don't want the giant target on your back anymore. They're probably as far as usually the number 1 seed in the tournament is the number 1 seed. They're the hottest one. There's no one else to talk about. That's not what you want to be right now. right? You don't want to be the one that's everyone's talking about because you do want to be the hottest, but you don't want to be the belle of the ball, right? Everyone's got their eye on you. So I think Auburn has got they've got a pretty solid draw as well, even though they got their that 4-13 seed. I can promise you they don't want to see either of those teams. They don't want to see an A&M or Yale. That will bring back some bad PTSD.
No,
boy,
yeah,
man, how good? But I mean, yeah, you're right, you're right, Josh. Yeah,
I was just picturing Barry when you were saying that. If a new freshman girl from California comes down to Troy, I bet you that would really open some eyes.
Yeah, no question about it.
How's the bracket pool pulling up? That was growing up. That was the number one thing.
We're just glad that we're not doing them on these anymore, Josh, because 30 years ago we were having to grade them on a piece of paper. But our good friends at Yellowhammer News are going to have that posted up later this morning. You'll be able to go there or scan the QR code. Darren will put that up here in just a moment again. But always a lot of exciting, makes the tournament. It makes games that, you might not be as interested in. There it is. Might not be as interested in, a lot more interesting. I haven't looked, but are the play-in games part of our contest? Are we just giving them?
They are not. And the reason why in the past was because our software could not incorporate 68 teams.
Software
so we
issue.
give them that. Yeah.
Josh, I don't know if you were listening this morning. I'm not a big play-in guy. I don't like this play-in stuff. So
I don't mind the 11 seed play-in games. Those are kind of fun to get in. Those to get in there. Those teams can get kind of hot. And I really don't like them.
Barry, didn't Alabama State play Michigan State years ago and we're only down by 2 at halftime?
Look at my hoop head co-host here.
How about that?
I don't know that it ever happened, but John, that never stopped him. Well, this may not have happened, but let me serve it up.
You think the academic maybe 16?
You better believe it. My friend and former Hornet head basketball coach Rob Spivey,
yes,
took them up and had the Spartans. The Spartans were only up by 2 at half. Look it up, folks. But then Michigan State moved on, and I think ended up covering the spread by the time the game was over. But yes, I do recall that it just hit me.
Always
takes a minute, but it hit me. Yeah. So Josh, you like Florida? I'm with you there, buddy. I think Florida's scary. They've been scaring me for about the last 3 weeks. You better watch out for them. Is there another SEC team that we haven't talked about? Auburn, Alabama, or Florida? We've talked about them, but another of the 14 SEC teams that you think might scare some people and have a good run?
Missouri.
Whoa.
Missouri. Yep. They've got a pretty good little path too. And they've been known to play some ball. They've got, either they got Drake first round, Texas Tech second round, or UNC Wilmington, St. John's, and we'll see how good St. John's is, right? Just based on the competition they play this year. They could be great. Yeah. They could be a bust. And then the problem with them is, and they get to match up against Florida. The thing is, they've played them twice this year. So, we'll see how that goes. That always helps.
I got to ask you about an SEC team. Is there an SEC team that you think is ripe for maybe a hang on, let me take a drink here. Is there an SEC team that is ripe for an upset in the first round, Josh, that you can well, my throat is really dry, guys. Really. Is there
upset? Let me think.
Is there an upset SEC team that you think is just primed to go down maybe early in the first round, say somewhere like Milwaukee at all, Josh?
I'm gonna make a big upset suggestion.
Yeah, did anything come to mind?
I'm gonna go Wofford.
The Terriers.
The Terriers
against Tennessee. I spoke to a graduate of Wofford just yesterday. He's very excited about that matchup.
Oh, listen, they call me the Moneyline Magician. That's my Moneyline Magician.
Whoa, let me write that down. I like that. Moneyline Magician. Love that. All right.
That's what it is. Wofford. Wofford with the upset will be the biggest upset that I would pick. And then more of a, let's see, something that's more reasonable. Let's go with Yale. Why not?
I got Yale beating Texas A&M. I'll say this, Bear. I'm glad you brought that up because I saw that last night. And that, something just went ding when I saw that. The style of play that Troy plays
right
against Kentucky, I think that to me, I can't wait to see when this point spread comes out or the money line. I'm not saying Troy's going to win it outright, but I'm interested in the money line on that game.
Right.
But what the number's going to be, I get with Kentucky and Troy. I like Troy to keep this game close, just the style they play.
The defense, defensively, Troy is, say what you want about the size of the teams and the size of the schools. Troy is better defensively than Kentucky is because Kentucky I guess if Kentucky was interested in defense, they might be pretty good, but they just don't really care too much about it.
Here's my bit of advice. Take an extra change of clothes just in case. You got to be packing like you're staying till Sunday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, pack some more boxer shorts and some more golf shirts because I could see that. I mean, I know the odds are not great, but I could see this game being closer than the experts are going to predict just because, the world might not know about Troy, but their style of play, I think, is going to give Kentucky all they want.
I agree. Just throw some extra Crow's chicken in there, too. Just some
hey. Toss off the chicken fingers reference, Crow's chicken. Final question I've got, and just top of your head. Last year, Alabama's run to the Final Four was really the entree into the national consciousness of Mark Sears. He came in and absolutely willed that Alabama team to a Final Four appearance. Does he have it in him this year to do that?
If he's healthy. He seems like he's getting a little tired and banged up out there. So I want him, he's got it. I think if he needs to play the games where we need him, but we've got other guys that can step up. Like Filine coming off that game where he quote unquote, he had some rough down the end against Tennessee, right? I'm not going to say he blew the game, but it was rough, right? He comes back and starts playing like a senior, right? The next couple games. So we've got another guy that can come in and step up if Sears is playing well. He went through those bad pressure points and didn't buckle. He came back even stronger after that Tennessee game, which is what you want to see. So I think he's going to be playing well. If Cliff can keep playing well down low, I think we're going to be in good shape. I think Sears can be that guy. He is that guy, and we've got a shot. But as y'all know, I'm about number as they come, so you're not going to get it.
I was just thinking about that. I mean, next Monday, I hope they're still in the tournament because if Bama gets knocked out, woo!
Well,
I'm here for it though. Bring it.
Absolutely.
I hear you.
When Josh Harris joins us next week, I want for Gurn Jr. to pay attention to this. Scrolling right at the bottom of the screen down here, instead of super fan Josh Harris, I want it to say Moneyline Magician Josh Harris on the scroll down there.
That's it. And I'll start coming with my Moneyline Magician pick of the week as well.
Love it. Moneyline Magician.
I've got a little group text that I send it out to, so I'll start adding it on here. We'll have the Moneyline Magician.
You got the Moneyline Magician and the Phantom's Daily Dog. I mean, what more do you need? Woo!
You might just go ahead and quit your job, start following the Phantom and Moneyline Magician, and we'll get you taken care of.
There you go. Sounds good, Josh. As always, we appreciate you. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. You too, man. The Moneyline Magician, Josh Harris, joining us as he does each and every Monday. Barry, when we do come back, we will give you the Phantom's Daily Dog. We've also got LSU's win total for 2025 and the Victoryland topic wheel to go over with the remainder of the show.
Gosh, we've still got a lot to do between now and the end of our second live hour in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, about 21 minutes past the hour on this Monday. Barry, check during the break. Kentucky is a 10.5-point favorite against Troy on Friday. I don't want to jump ahead on the Phantoms Daily Dog, but I have to really take a closer look at that game as we get closer. Also, don't forget, we got a lot of basketball. Whether you're a play-in kind of guy or as they call it, first four kind of guy, let's don't forget about the NIT. We got the NIT. I mean, that's a tournament too.
It's a little bit different than the old NIT used to be, where you used to have, great memorable matchups like Coppin State coming to Coleman Coliseum and beating Alabama. Now, basically, the NIT is basically a tournament for the big boys who didn't make the NCAA tournament. And every once in a while, if a big boy turns down a bid, then you can get, then they'll let one of the mid-majors in, like Cal State Northridge and Middle Tennessee and Jackson.
UC Riverside.
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Yeah. So, yeah, it ain't like it used to be when it used to be, a lot of, really good unsung teams. Now it's a landing spot for some of those disappointing major conference.
Yeah, I guess somebody's got to have some place to play.
Yeah.
Who knows? All right, so Barry, our Phantom Daily Dog, we normally do it around this time. It kind of fluctuates. You never know, so you'll have to be watching the entire show. But we'll do it right now. Just if you wanted, if you don't know, you haven't heard yet, we had a game on Friday's program, a game in which our team, Barry, was catching three. They won the game outright by 18. Didn't need the three. We're talking about the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, yeah.
And the Purdue Boilermakers. We had Michigan plus the three. They win the game outright by 18.
Yeah, our third base coach at Troy, Ben Walgamot, is a proud graduate of Purdue. He wasn't real happy with the Boilers.
But hey, it was good for the Phantom. We were very, very happy about it.
There we go.
Just, if we're keeping score and, are we? Sure we are.
Sure.
4-1 last week. 4-1, the Phantoms Daily Dog, 4 winners. We took one on the chin, but winning week with 4 winners for you on the Phantoms Daily Dog. So you're wondering, where's the Phantom going to head tonight? Well, I got to wait till tomorrow for some college basketball. Woo! So we're going
Would that be the ultimate irony if the Phantom picked the first 4 games as his dog of the day tomorrow, giving it a little bit more legitimacy in some people.
I will say this. The Phantom has always looked for value, doesn't really care where it's being played or who's playing. The Phantom at times has gotten reaction from people, why are you picking that game? I don't know anything about them. Well, then don't play them. We're not looking for, Notre Dame and Ohio State every week. You got to look for value. So, the Phantom sees some value in one of these, made for TV games, then we might play it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Tonight, Barry,
all right,
we are going out to the West Coast, 9 p.m. on ESPN. That's 7 p.m. On the West Coast, where Denver is traveling to Golden State. The Nuggets catching 4.5 at Golden State. We're going to take Denver plus the 4.5. Look at this. They're already dinging the Phantom. Love it, Phantom. Yeah, okay, great. Appreciate it.
The Warriors, they had won like 7 in a row since acquiring Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
They are not a good matchup with the Nuggets. I'm here to tell you, number one, the Nuggets are just better. Their record's better. Their team's better. They've got more depth and all that. The only advantage I see for the Warriors is that they're playing at home. But, yeah, I'm with you on this. Absolutely.
It's a home game.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're like Denver plus the 4.5
4.5
tonight. Yeah. The Phantoms Daily Dog. I Barry LSU for 2025. I believe has a win total of 8.5 games.
All right.
Been hearing a lot about LSU this year. A lot of people think they're going to really maybe be in Atlanta for the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
They open up at Clemson.
This is good. Last year's LSU team, they finished 9-4, and really, even before that fateful day in 2017, and especially afterwards, when they lose to Troy in Baton Rouge, I think beforehand they had won like 48 straight non-conference games at home or something ungodly like that. Last year, and for the last several years, LSU has not had a problem with the teams they're supposed to beat. I mean, last year they'll beat Nicholls State, they'll beat South Alabama, they'll beat UCLA. It took overtime, but they beat Ole Miss in Baton Rouge last year. But they have not been prone to the upset like in 2017. But, John, they've not been really good against teams that are favorites again. They've lost 4 games last year. USC in Vegas, Texas A&M in College Station, Alabama in Baton Rouge, and they lost to Florida in Gainesville. So they were the 4 losses, 3 of them came on the road. They have a hard time upsetting people.
Well, they do. I'm with you there. We'll get Gern to put LSU's schedule on the screen here for us so we can take a look with our viewing audience. I'm just going to go ahead and say this, Barry.
Yeah.
I think Clemson beats them. I think they start the season 0-1.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't know that it would be an upset. I don't know what the spread would be on that. I do know Clemson's number 7. I don't know what it looks like the rest of the year. Again, they've had a hard time upsetting teams that are, point spread favorites. But they ain't beating Clemson in Clemson. They're not. I don't think so. A little bit more intestinal fortitude than they have shown me over the last little while. I do love Nussmeier. I think he's a gamer. He is coming back at quarterback. But, man, there's just seemed to be something missing from this Clemson team in terms of an internal fire or in terms of want to. This seems like one of those poster child programs for Hey, my NIL check, it comes end of the month, right? I only get it once.
Yeah.
I get it end of the month, not twice a month. Okay, yeah, that's what seems to be what motivates them.
So I think they'll go to Clemson, lose
Yeah.
that one, then they come back home. Their home opener is against Florida, against the Gators. I think Florida maybe improved this year, but I don't think they beat LSU. So LSU's going to win their next two, and I'm thinking they're going to win their next three, even though that third one's in Oxford against Ole Miss. I think LSU wins the next three.
I got them losing to Ole Miss. I was trying to work it out with Florida because I think Florida is going to be better, but it's in Baton Rouge. That would show me something. I think LSU right now wins it again, one of those that I will expect to change later on. So I've got LSU 3-2 after their first 5, which means they've got to win 6 out of their last 8. 6 of their last 7.
I've got them
to get over 8.
Yeah. But the next game they play after an off week, they play South Carolina. I've been hearing a lot of rumbling about South Carolina. This is an upset right here. Nobody's going to expect it. South Carolina goes into Baton Rouge and beats LSU. Now I've got LSU at 4-2.
Well, you know what that means. And I don't think it happens. But if it does happen, that means the drum beat starts really banging about Brian Kelly. And I'm here to tell you, if they go into newly refurbished First Bank Stadium and they take an L on the road at Vanderbilt the next week,
no, they're going to win that game. They'll win that one.
Yeah,
I got them beating Vandy. Yep. Got them beating A&M.
5-3. I agree with that. That's in Baton Rouge, and that's everything. So for me, I've got them 5-3 heading into their final. 5-2 heading into their final 5 games. No,
I've got them.
I had them.
Yeah, I've got them 6-2 after A&M.
Yeah, I've got them 5-3. My math is right. Yeah, there's 4 more games left in the regular year. I've got LSU 5-3. They need to win 3 out of their last 4. No, they got to win their last 4 to get over the posted total. They got to win 4 in a row, and I don't think they do it.
I've got they lose to Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but they'll win out against Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma. That leaves them with a record of 9-3, which is over the 8.5.
I'm trying to work that out to try to get to 9. I'm always, hopeful that they can get over the number. I think they beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They beat Arkansas. They beat Western Kentucky. Gosh, John, I got them beating Oklahoma in Norman. I've got them winning their final 4 games, and they're getting to 9-3 in the regular season. Yeah. That's good enough to get over the posted total, but those LSU fans are not going to be happy with 9-3 in what, year 4, year 5?
No, they are not. They're not going to be happy at all. And Barry and I both agree. We both have them at 9-3. We just got the losses coming in some different places there, but 9-3. So at this point, let me look here. I have, I'm about 50-50. Got Alabama over 8.5, under 5.5 for Arkansas, over 7.5 for Auburn, over 6.5 for Florida, over 9.5 for Georgia, Kentucky under 4.5, and LSU over 8.5 for Barry. He's got Alabama under 8.5, Arkansas under 5.5, Auburn over 7.5, Florida over 6.5, Georgia over 9.5, Kentucky under 4.5, and LSU over. Where do we both agree? We both agree on Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and LSU. The only ones that we disagree, Alabama.
So far.
And
again, I reserve the right to later on, you and I have another show during the summer to revise it because, you're going to see
there's no doubt about that.
Kind of stuff. Well, there you go. There's our Phantoms Dog of the Day. There's our review of the upcoming schedule for LSU. When we come back, not promising anything. This is a tease, Chris the Bammer.
I like your chances.
But we might go Victoryland 777 topic wheel when we come back. And always, taking a look at our bracket. It's underway. Keep checking yellowhammernews.com for your chance to enter in and win $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport. FlyMGM.com and travel above. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. Of course, Marguerite's 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree. And Marianne, tell us where you are today. That's a very interesting piece of equipment I see.
Exactly. Yeah. I promise it's not growing out of my head, but this is our microscope. We're not in the science lab, but jewelry, as you know, has lots of different components. And at Marguerite's, we have a fully trained staff. Myself and Benji and Lyle have all gone to GIA, which stands for the Gemological Institute of America. I did my training in Carlsbad, California. Lyle and Benji did their training in New York. And they train us to look at the anatomy of a diamond or the anatomy of a gemstone. So we look through this microscope and we can do other tests like RA and different things with acids and different types of chemicals and through different types of magnification and UV light. We can tell if a gemstone is in fact natural or synthetic or what type of stone it is. If great grandma had this green stone that she wore every day, we can tell you if it's an emerald or a peridot, lots of different things. But again, just like we've said before, we're a full service jeweler at Marguerite's. So we can help you get in the know when it comes to your stone, tell you about the anatomy of your diamond, or tell you what the heck it is.
Yep, that is fantastic, Marianne. A full-service jeweler. That's so important. Where you located, give us your hours of operation so our viewers and listeners can come see you.
Most definitely. 8163 Vaughn Road in the Peppertree Shopping Center. We're close to Chappie's Deli. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Go by and see them, folks. Marianne and that staff can help you with all of your jewelry needs. Thanks, Marianne.
Thanks.
Can Vandy beat LSU again? Daniel thinks so with their quarterback returning. Vandy, people are going to be ready for Vandy this year. When we get to Vandy in our selections or our picks for their win total, I think it's going to be very interesting. But Diego Pava coming back. He's going to upset somebody. Maybe not the two teams they beat last year, two of the teams they beat last year in Alabama.
I do lose track of everybody. And again, I'm in the business. I have to broadcast these things. I do lose track because Pavia sued the NCAA saying that, the NCAA rules on eligibility should not apply for junior college because junior college has its own association. Just because these guys played outside the NCAA doesn't mean the NCAA should dictate how much eligibility they have left. And so everybody, they've reached an agreement where everybody this year who played junior college football at any point will have one more year of eligibility. That's football, that's basketball, that's everything. So I'm thinking Pavia, who's a good player, it may be his 6th year. I know there have been guys who have 7, and I remember one guy who had 8. To him, John and I both say, hey, respect, man. Go kicking and screaming into the real world if you get a chance. Right. I enjoy doing this because it's the first time I'm really looking critically at each team's upcoming schedule. I'm looking at them and saying, hey, this will be a fun game for the fans. That one right there, ooh, that's going to be in Allegiant Stadium, or this one over here. Where's that? That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually looking at them closely like you and I do and seeing wins and losses kind of focuses you a little bit, gets me ready to start really thinking football.
Barry, oh yeah, me too. But hey, we got to get through basketball first. This is just kind of a little fun, little exercise, as they call it, during this time of year when the totals come out, because Obviously basketball is on the forefront. These play-in games tomorrow, I am so psyched. I'm scheduling my day around. When we get off the air, I'm checking the TV times. I'm writing them all down. Robbie, I know you've probably already got them. And speaking of Robbie, this does not happen very often. This is like a lunar eclipse. Robbie has admitted
he was wrong. Robbie says, number one, I hope and pray everybody in Troy is safe after the tornado that hit Monday. Yeah, everybody's safe. I don't think there were any casualties at all from the tornado. There is a ton of damage. I got in this morning from Louisiana at 2:30 in the morning, so I hadn't had a chance to look around or anything yet. But I know a couple of the coaches that I talked to, their homes were smacked pretty good. It was scary. My mother had to wait it out in her closet in mid-Troy, Midtown. Robbie also says this, and this is like a earth-shaking itself. He says, congratulations on Troy reaching an NCAA tournament. Barry, I was wrong.
What?
About Scott Cross.
No
Shall I
way.
repeat? Robbie from Greenville. Jason, Jason Jones, are you recording this? Can you screen grab this? Barry, I was wrong about Scott Cross after what I said last month. I'm just glad Troy and Alabama are not playing at the same time on Friday. Troy on Friday will play at 6:10 against Kentucky in Milwaukee. Of course, I'll have the radio broadcast of that one. Alabama on Friday plays early, before noon, 11:40 in the morning. I think True TV has to knock out Bait Car at 11:40 in the morning, or at least one of the early morning episodes of the early Law and Order.
Yeah, actually, Barry, I've got to see if I've got True TV on my YouTube TV. I don't know. I have no clue.
Every Monday, or in John's case, Monday and Tuesday, that's what he spends the evening doing. Hey, John, what are you doing? Yeah. Well, I got to get in front of my smart TV and figure out how in the world I can reinstall True TV. Did I have a password for this? Did you save that? Because I didn't. I got to feel that the executives at True TV and the executives at TBS kind of get a little tired of this because, they're fielding phone calls. True TV help desk. Yes, you want to check and see whether your subscription to True TV is still active. No, sir, it expired. You're going to have to, over and over and over again, because they got to feel bad because they think, every year about this time, we get thousands and thousands of people who have given up on True TV as soon as the NCAA's first couple of rounds are done, and they forget about us all year, and then here they come again. Oh, True TV, how do I subscribe?
Mm-hmm.
And you know that all they're doing is for the NCAA tournament. They ain't doing it for Bait Car. They ain't doing it for Law and Order. They're not doing it for LA Law reruns. None of that. So you got to feel pretty bad about that.
Yeah, I'll live. I'll be able to find it some way, somehow. I guess I will.
You got a pretty good day ahead of you. Tomorrow, productive day. Settled in tomorrow. True TV, 5:40. Alabama State versus St. Francis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then 8:10, North Carolina versus San Diego State. As a broadcaster, I have an opinion about this, but John's a broadcaster too. And I've got to ask him, if you were all of a sudden last week, you got a call from the NCAA office, the call you've been waiting for saying, John, how do we fix college football? No, they got a call from the NCAA office that says, John, man, your show, it's blowing up. It's the bomb. We were hoping that maybe you could do some NCAA tournament basketball play-by-play or color for us in the tournament. John says, oh boy, would I? I'd love it. But John, would you really crack the knuckles, burn the midnight oil, if you're a national television basketball broadcaster over St. Francis and Alabama State?
Well,
would you be
I
like
don't
1 o'clock in the
think,
morning? Yeah, I have got to find out a couple of more nuggets I can use about St. Francis. I got to find out how their leading scorer gets his points. Is he more effective against the press, man-to-man, zone, whatever? Or would John be the kind of guy that would stroll into UD Arena in Dayton tomorrow night about, let's see, game at 5:40, at about 5:25? Okay, fine. Hey, Ringo, get some lessons, and get a haircut, and there's a parking lot wang, and sit down with and have somebody say, hey, get me a roster. Okay. And then John looks at it for the first time in weeks.
The answer to this question. I would do the play-by-play for a Capitol Heights junior high basketball game if the money was right. Now, if they're going to send me to wherever they're playing, Dayton or wherever,
Ohio, yeah.
Hey, we just want you to do it for the experience. Well, experience this. Click. Yeah, if the money's right and my travel is picked up and my travel expenses are not good enough, and
and he ain't talking about parking pass like he normally does. He's talking about limo at the airport.
Yeah.
Straight there, limo back.
Getting the Jim
and
Nance
I'm flying out of
treatment,
MGM.
I might consider it, but just to come do it, forget it. No way. Not going to happen. Not happening.
NCAA tournament. Anyway, so that's on Tuesday. You got a pretty nice day there. Wednesday, same time, 5:40, Mount St. Mary's versus American. Now, both of those are Washington, D.C. based, if I'm not mistaken. Mount St. Mary's is in Maryland.
Yep.
And American, I think they're called the Patriots. I could be wrong. But I know they're not called the Cheese, like somebody told me a little while ago. No,
they're not.
If you are watching Mount St. Mary's versus American on Wednesday, I salute you because you are an absolute hoop head.
No doubt.
Dying, living, and dying
like
on it.
that.
8:10 on Wednesday. Xavier versus Texas. Texas can say, hey, our women's basketball team is the number 1 overall seed in the women's NCAA tournament. Our football team made the college football playoff. Did they make the Final Four?
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did.
And our men's basketball team made the NCAA tournament. Asterisk at the corner.
Here's another thing, and I posed this so many times during the length of this program. Are we going to know a year from now the teams that were in the first 4 matchups? No. As a matter of fact, by the time this tournament is over, we won't remember who those teams were that got knocked out early. Just kind of how I gauge the importance or interest of some games.
First 4. John couldn't tell you who the final 4 were last week.
No kidding. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I see the wheel is loaded. There's some very interesting topics today on the wheel. We'll get to them right after this.
It's coming up. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry, serving the River region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the River region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are with us here today. I do see the Victoryland 777 topic wheel is loaded up, ready to go. What do you say we, I don't know, take a spin or two and see what comes up?
Give it a shot.
And it is, how about this one? Saban So Happy.
What was that movie?
So
was it Platoon, where you had that lady of the evening in Vietnam who was, love you long time.
Yeah,
that kind of Saban So Happy.
Saban So Happy.
Like yeah, okay.
I sent a picture to Gern. I don't know if he's going to be able to put it up on the screen. Yeah, there it is. Last week when Tommy Tuberville joined us on the program, he mentioned that he had dinner with Nick Saban and Mike Krzyzewski in D.C., trying to talk him into getting into politics, but he says they're making too much money not being into it. And then I saw this picture on YellowhammerNews.com, and I'm thinking, I've never seen Saban look that happy.
Doesn't he look good?
I'm thinking
he looks good.
The guy gets out of football. He's got a big smile on his face and tanned up, got the hair looking good. And I'm thinking, Saban was never that happy in Tuscaloosa.
He's podcasting all over the place. I've seen him on Channing Crowder's podcast. I think the other one's Lewis Rid. He's doing those things all the time. And the thing is on those podcasts and stuff, he is embracing his grumpy persona. Yeah. Like Channing Crowder, who used to play linebacker at Florida and for the Dolphins. Crowder played for Saban when Saban was coaching the Dolphins. So that's why Saban goes on his show and he'll ask him stuff. And like they had one last week on the podcast. It's a video podcast where they were asking Saban about, the stories, his daughter, Kristen, whenever, before she went off to college, they used to have boys come to her house, knock on the door. Hey, is Kristen there? And they used to hate it when Saban answered the door. And he was laughing about it, saying, first thing I'd ask him, he said, as soon as the door knocked, everybody in my house would sprint to the door because they didn't want dad to answer the door because they wanted, this boy to not run screaming through the yard.
Sure.
And so Saban said, I'd always ask him, hey, what do you play? Just so I could know like how competitive he is and all that kind of stuff. And he's laughing and Channing Crowder's laughing. He said, I used to try to intimidate the poop out of him, all the time. And I'm thinking, poor Kristen, here's a guy that, thinks they might have something in common, thinks she's kind of attractive, his, breathing gets a little shallow when she walks by. He asks her out, maybe, nice little dinner somewhere, maybe Applebee's or Olive Garden or something, movie and all that. He comes to her door, takes the deep breath like Reggie in Bad Boys when Will Smith and Martin Lawrence answer the door. And all of a sudden he opens the door and there's Nick Saban. It's like, hello, Coach Saban. Is Kristen there? And Saban's giving him the stink eye. And he does that really good on the podcast. He's kind of embracing, the fact that he was always kind of grouchy, but he also embraces the fact that, man, I've learned so much. I ain't like that anymore. That was never really my true self or anything. He just seems like he's having a great time. And those people like Tuberville who want to talk him into becoming commissioner of college football, there ain't no way on God's green earth he's going to do that, John. Why in the world would he?
He's doing to it. But I saw that picture, that big old smile. I went, man, I hadn't seen a smile on Saban's face like that in a long time. Thanks to our good friends at Yellowhammer News that had that back on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, Gern, let's spin it again and see what pops up next here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Fire it up.
Here we go. It's spinning for a Monday. It's going to land on.
What have we got here?
Where
is everyone?
Is everybody? I'm driving around yesterday and zipping around here, there, and everywhere, and I'm thinking, there's nobody here. Where is everybody? Nobody's at the grocery store. Go hit some golf balls. Nobody's there. Go get some gas. Nobody, I'm the only one pumping. I'm thinking, what's going on? Then I figured out it was spring break. Does everybody just roll up the sidewalks during spring break and head out of town except me? I mean, I'm thinking, what's going on around here? This place is dead.
Yeah, you ought to do like I've lived in a college town for 30-something years. I'm telling you, I kind of like it. I mean, I love being around the students. Like today is a holiday, and it's not a university holiday at Troy because it's like Administrators Day. And I mean, it's spring break at Troy. I'm still going to go in. It's not because it's St. Patrick's Day, which is why I'm wearing my green. But, man, you get a parking place downtown. You want to take your wife to lunch someplace nice downtown. You don't have to automatically say, well, we can't go there. We'll not find a parking place. It's weird. It is odd, but I guarantee you this, we were coming back. We were going down to Lafayette, Louisiana on Thursday, heading down I-65. Good gosh almighty. Thursday,
I bet. Yeah.
65 was hopping.
Well, Bear, if we can ever get it triple laned like Will Ainsworth wants it, the traffic will be a little less congested there. But yeah, 65 during a holiday or spring break, you can forget it.
Yeah, big thumbs up to Ty. Yeah, the movie I'm thinking of is not Platoon. It's Full Metal Jacket. Ty says, one of my brushes with greatness is getting to meet R. Lee Ermey, who played the DI Gunner Sergeant Hartman in that one. That was a great movie. Ain't for the faint of heart. Don't take a date to Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is a pretty doggone good movie.
It's a tough one. All right, Gurn, let's see what we got left on the Victorland 777 topic wheel. A couple of more topics to get to today, and it looks like it's going to not the New York Times.
Yeah.
Not the Washington Times. It's
not
just
the Abbeville Times, which John, I think, had
no, that was the Eufaula Gazette.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
I don't get these first round times. We talked about it earlier. The overall number one seed, they ought to be in prime time. I don't care who they're playing. I don't like these afternoon games. I mean, I know that's part of the tournament, but shouldn't those games, those times be for like Lipscomb and Norfolk State and Grand Canyon and whoever UNCW is? Isn't that a TV network? McNeese, High Point. I mean, really? I mean, I don't get these tip times.
I really am surprised about that too. I kind of thought it would be that way, but they put the TV times according to the seeding. I think, like you could ask them back in January, hey, what's going to be the 8:25 Central Time game on Thursday? And they say, oh, that'll be a 10 versus a 7. Or what's the 9 o'clock game on that first the 9 o'clock game on that first Friday of the tournament? Oh, that'll be a 12 versus a 5. So I don't know that they do it because they have a deference to the name or a preference to the name or anything. Although I'm with John, I'm surprised they don't do it that way. I am surprised that they don't take the brackets once they're released on Sunday and then assign tip-off times. Because I got to tell you, it's going to be hard-pressed for me on Friday night after Troy beats Kentucky to get back in my hotel room and get amped up for Bryant versus Michigan State or Liberty versus Oregon. I got to tell you, those are the late primetime games. I am with you on that. I am surprised.
I don't get it. All right, let's spin it again, see what comes up on the Victorland 777 topic wheel. And it is going to be the Troy Trojans. We know where they're heading to take on the Kentucky Wildcats in Milwaukee. on Friday. And Troy baseball tomorrow in Birmingham. You said at Rickwood. Is this like a Rickwood Classic?
It is. It's one of those deals. Rickwood Field has been a thing for 113 years. Troy plays UAB home and away every year. We played at UAB Stadium before, which is not very good. We played at Regents Park where the Barons play. This time it's going to be at Rickwood tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. I get to go broadcast that game because Troy will not leave for Milwaukee, I think, until Wednesday. And, of course, Troy will get to Milwaukee Wednesday night. Big practice, big media viewing on Thursday with everybody else in that Milwaukee regional, and play on Friday, 6-10 Friday, as the number 14 seed against the 3 seed Kentucky Wildcats. Certainly looking forward to that.
Yep, going to be great. All right, girl, let's spin the last one because we've got some news on this topic that just just happened, actually. So spin it, make it official. Oh, there it is. TPC/Live. The TPC, the Tournament Players Championship, went into a 3-hole playoff this morning where Rory McIlroy beat JJ Spawn. It's a 3-hole competition, 3-hole playoff as they call it, aggregate scoring.
Yeah, they got started at 9, and after yesterday's final round was weather delayed. McIlroy and Spawn were tied at 12 under. It's a 3-hole playoff. I figured it might be coming to a conclusion before we got off the air with our live show. What can you tell us?
Well, JJ Spawn took a double bogey on the Island Green 17th hole. They played 16, 17, 18 in the 3-hole playoff. Rory went 1 up after 16, making a birdie on the par 5, where Spawn parred the hole. Then it got dicey on 17. Rory bogeyed.
Usually does.
Yeah, but Spawn double bogeyed. Rory went on to make a 5, and I think Spawn just said, I'm out, threw in the towel, and Rory McIlroy is your winner. The reason I put Live up there, I actually saw a little Live golf over the weekend. I was channel surfing, and they were playing in Singapore. And, they got this weird graphic on the side of the screen, and then the players are playing in shorts. And I got to tell you, Barry, half the field I'd never heard of before. I mean, some of them, John Rahm and Dustin Johnson and some of those guys I was familiar with, but they had some guys I didn't know from Adam's House Cat.
The only thing that jumps at me is that for golf traditionalists like John, if you want him to take you seriously with your little tour, don't be playing in shorts.
Nope.
Don't be wearing T-shirts out there like you're a sports writer, and don't be wearing your hat backwards. Any of that stuff, and John will never consider you to be real golf.
Just the broadcast was just different. It was too flashy and too techno stuff. I like a more subdued, traditional golf broadcast.
Yeah.
Call me an old fogey,
but politics.
And then, Barry, you're talking about True TV? This was on like FS2. I didn't even know I had FS2. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
How many FSs are there?
Yeah, really?
I only ever heard of FS1.
Yeah, well, this was on
we learn something new every day.
Live tour from Singapore. All right, we're back tomorrow, as you well know. Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com will join us. Travis Ryer on YouTube talking Tide. We got a lot of other things to get to as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to be on tomorrow, but I'm sure John is going to give a thorough preview to the first 4 games. The tournament gets underway tomorrow.
That will be a homework assignment for Gurn Jr. to let us know tomorrow what he thinks about the first 4 matchups.
Yeah, break it down for us, Gurn. That's coming up. Yes. From his home studio, he's John Longshore. From my home studio for a little bit, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.